got too many things to do right now. Say I don't know what you want, baby girl, come on now. Don't get turned.
What's happening? What's happening? What's happening, man? Say, man. Dunno, man. We back with another one. Say, man. I ain't gonna lie to her. Shoulder y'all cool. Say, man. We back in order. Say, we got Quando, Rondo, man. Say, see what he been on. Say, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot going on with Quando, man. You know what I'm saying? His cousin just got hit up. A lot going on. About to find out what's going on, though. Without further ado, y'all like, comment, subscribe. Say, I ain't gonna lie. I look at this Mac Moolah video. Y'all know who Mac Moolah is. Hey, I like cars. I'm about to start me a car channel. Y'all go subscribe to that. It's gonna be called what? We Lied though. There you go. I'm about to start me a car channel. I ain't gonna lie. I fuck with cars, bro. I'm trying to get me I ain't gonna lie. YouTube, hey, if y'all ain't started on YouTube channel, y'all need to start one. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Hey, say, but I ain't gonna keep rapping. Let's go.
Juan Terrell Bowman, better known by his stage name
Quando
Rondo, is a rapper from Savannah, Georgia. Quando started gaining buzz back in 2018 after dropping the track I Remember featuring Lil Baby and signing to NBA YoungBoy's Never Broke Again label later that same year. Quando has a great ear for catchy melodies and has shown promise of becoming one of the next big up-and-coming rappers out of the South. However, an incident outside a hookah lounge in downtown Atlanta that resulted in the murder of popular Chicago rapper King Von has overshadowed his success in the music industry and may threaten his career in the future. Although Quando wasn't the one responsible for the shooting, a member of his crew named Timothy Leaks, aka Lil Tim, was arrested for the murder, and much of the blame for Von's death has been put on Rondo's shoulders.
Yeah, I know who Lil Tim is. Say. You ain't gotta say too much about Lil Tim. You already know who Lil Tim is. So like, say. Watch out. Watch out for Lil Tim.
Look at the criminal history of Quando Rondo that led up to the shooting. Quando Rondo was born and raised in Savannah, Georgia. In an interview with DJ Vlad, Rondo talks at length about his rough childhood and his life in the streets, which started at the young age of 11. In the interview, Rondo claims that he was taken from his biological mother and father at the age of 2 by Child Protective Services and was adopted by his great aunt who raised him. His mother and father got into an argument, and somehow a hot iron fell off the table and landed on Rondo's leg. At first, his mother thought that the burn was minor, but she eventually had to take him to the hospital. After that, CPS intervened to take Rondo from his mother and sent him to live with his father's aunt, who he calls Grandma. Rondo lived with his grandma growing up while his father was in and out of jail and his mother was addicted to drugs. He ended up catching his first charge at the age of 11 after getting into an argument with his cousin and hitting him. His grandma was the one who called the cops on him and had him charged with simple battery. Rondo says that his grandma was a loyal Christian and was always tough on him when he was bad because she thought it would save him from ending up in the streets. But he says that after she called the cops on him, it made him start to question whether he really belonged with his adoptive family. After the simple battery charge, he was put on probation. But Rondo says that at that time, he had started smoking weed and kept failing the mandatory drug test given to him by his parole officer. He failed the first time and was put in the detention center for 7 days. After he got out, he failed again and went back for 14 days. After he got out the second time, he was sentenced to house arrest and had to wear a leg monitor. Being so young, he thought he could get away with letting the battery die on the monitor and still sneak out to be in the streets. But his PO eventually caught on and brought him back to court. He was sentenced to go to a military-style boot camp, but he ended up getting into too many fights. He did a few months at the boot camp and then was sent back to the detention center where he finished up his 6-month sentence. Then was released again, but sentenced to another 60 days on house arrest. By this time, Quando was still only 12 years old, and 60 days seemed like forever, especially since he just got off a 6-month sentence. He decided to cut off his leg monitor and run away from his grandma's house. He went on the run and jumped from his friends and other family members' houses to sleep and eat. Eventually, he ended up back at his grandma's house, and she called the police on him again. Rondo was sent back to the juvenile detention center and sentenced to 3 months. He did his time and was released finally without a leg monitor. He was only out for 4.
Say, how old were you? I couldn't been that young, Ben. I'll be banging on that wall. Let me out there, Frank. Let me out there, Frank. I got let me out there. You gotta let me out.
4 or 5 months until he was caught shoplifting a cap gun. He and his friends were walking by the Family Dollar and decided to go in one by one and steal cap guns. The store clerks caught on to their scheme and called the cops. Rondo just happened to be the one who was in the store when the police showed up, and he stole someone's bike to escape. The cops chased him, and one of them promised that if he stopped and returned the bike, they wouldn't arrest him. But that promise was just a bluff, and after Rondo surrendered, he was charged with stealing the cap gun and the bike and was sent back to juvie for 4 months. He served his time and was put back on house arrest. At this point, he was around 13 or 14 and says that he started to notice his friends moving up in their lives and doing other things. He dropped out of school in the 6th grade and knew he couldn't keep up with academics, so he started getting deeper in the streets to support himself. He started doing robberies to make money to pay for weed and clothes. At first, he was breaking into houses in his own neighborhood and selling stolen TVs and other electronics to the neighborhood hustlers. But eventually, he decided to up his game and start hitting licks in the rich part of town. On his first B&E in the wealthier area, he was caught by police after tripping a silent alarm. He was sentenced to another 15 months in juvie for the burglary charge, and after serving his time, he was sent to live in a group home in Columbus, Georgia. After he was released on that particular charge, he says things only got wilder. He started carrying guns, gangbanging, and riding in stolen cars. He ended up getting caught on a gun charge and was put in the county jail for the first time. He still had outstanding charges floating around for assaulting an officer at the boot camp and other lesser crimes that happened while he was locked up. So he ended up bouncing between several facilities in Georgia to serve his time. He was eventually released, but kept going back to county jail. By this time, he was 17 and started to think about finding a way to get out of the streets. He had always had a passion for music and had been singing and rapping since he was a child. But it was around this time that he started taking music seriously and releasing music. He released the First Day Out freestyle and started gaining buzz in Savannah. He got locked up again and wrote one of his most popular tracks to date, I Remember, while in prison. He put out a video on Instagram of him rapping the song and it started doing numbers. But at that time, music wasn't paying the bills and Rondo was still heavily in the streets. Not long after, he was riding around with his friend in a stolen car. When police attempted to pull him over, the friend had a gun on him. And when police flashed their lights, he told Rondo to get out and run. They parked the car and tried to escape on foot, but were eventually caught by the police. Rondo was charged with the gun and the stolen vehicle and sentenced to 24 months in jail, his longest sentence yet. The judge looked at his long rap sheet of arrests up to that point and decided he needed a longer sentence to teach him a lesson. After getting released, he decided to commit himself to music full-time to avoid going back to jail for an even longer sentence the next time. He started gaining attention from the industry and was getting offers from major names in the industry like The Game and Birdman. He ended up building a relationship with NBA YoungBoy and his crew and signed to their Atlantic imprint, Never Broke Again, LLC, in 2018. It seemed like things were finally turning around for Quando Rondo, and he could make a career for himself that wouldn't leave him in jail. Quando Rondo's career looked like it was going nowhere, but up until a fight outside an Atlanta hookah lounge resulted in the death of another popular rapper named King Von. On November 6, 2020, a fight broke out between Von's crew and Rondo's crew outside the Monaco hookah lounge in Atlanta. Security footage from outside the lounge shows King Von approach Rondo and start throwing punches. Rondo reacts, and suddenly a brawl breaks out. The fight spills into the street and attracts the attention of the police, who start firing shots. Footage from a different angle shows a man pull out a gun and shoot Von, then get hit with a bullet himself. He spins around and keeps firing, but is clearly injured and unable to move. 22-year-old Timothy Leaks was arrested for the shooting. He's a known associate of Quando Rondo, who went by the name Lil Tim. It seems that Von and Rondo had a problem with one another, and when they saw each other outside the hookah lounge, things popped off. Lil Tim saw his man getting a beating and started letting off shots to defend his crew. Von ended up losing his life, and Lil Tim may never see the outside of a prison cell. The case is still ongoing, and it's unclear what the exact motive behind the shooting was. Fans have speculated that it stemmed from a beef that King Von and YoungBoy had over a girl. Quando has a long history.
What it takes to scapegoat is so
see what happens. He never did
that. He just do it all the time. But
so funny.
History of taking YoungBoy's beef as his own. In the DJ Vlad interview, Rondo says that their relationship goes deeper than music and that their crews are like family. Rondo has gone to bat for YoungBoy several times in the past after he beefed with major street dudes in the industry like Kevin Gates and Kodak Black. Allegedly, Von and YoungBoy were beefing over YoungBoy's baby mama, Jania. Von and Jania were spotted hanging out together and were rumored to be dating. Von denied the rumor and claimed that they were just friends, but that didn't seem to matter much to YoungBoy. They went back and forth on the internet, dissing each other on social media. Von tried to downplay the beef in an interview with DJ Academics, but it seemed the situation was more serious than he let on.
People told me you and YoungBoy was beefing or something like that. You said something about it. What happened, Von? What's going on with you, man?
They be saying that a lot. It's like we got the same interests and holes, and then You know how the internet will try to make it.
Don't tell me I got problems with girls.
No, it's the internet, gang. It's the you know, they'll try to make it like that because it's the internet. You see what I'm saying? And then you know how females will try to make it like that because they females. And they'll try to make it like one motherfucker hard. They try to, it be just all type of shit. But it ain't nothing too serious, nothing you should worry about.
Of course, Quando stepped into the ring to defend his man, and King Von wasn't feeling it. When they saw each other that night, it was on sight. Unfortunately, Von ended up losing his life, and one of Rondo's homies is looking at some serious jail time. Rondo was not the one who fired the shots, and was not the one who instigated the problem, and currently he isn't in any legal trouble for his involvement in Von's death. But it has cast a major shadow over his career, as Von was a popular up-and-coming artist who had a huge fan base. It may be tough for him to shake that association going forward, without facing drama in the streets. Rondo released a song called End of Story, where he explains his side of the story. He claims that Von instigated the fight, and although his crew wasn't looking for any trouble, they had to do what they had to do once Von came out swinging. Hopefully, Quando Rondo can eventually put this case behind him and avoid getting trapped up in the system once again.
Drop every.
Say, man, that's the end of this junk, man. Say, I ain't gonna lie. If Quando, not Quando, if Von, he never did that. Quando, he probably stole the band. I ain't gonna lie. But say, second channel coming. We live, though. You know me? All caution. You know me? Go subscribe. Brody. We out. Y'all stay safe.